time, or
Sorry.
no, that's
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
Either, so I was just saying, like, either if you're making calls the first time or you stop calling and now making calls again, there's still like that fear that you do. Like, I mean, it's easier once you start getting into the routine. So I think that you just, to do your calls, if you've taken a break for a while, I feel like one of the best things to do is do something that gets you motivated. I feel like moving my body does help. I came back from vacation and I ate and drank way too much. So trying to get on that fitness tip,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
that's kind of something I would recommend if, you're having a hard time getting started.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Getting up and
Yeah,
moving, and it can be, or just taking in bite-sized pieces. You don't have to do it all, right? So it's, just say,
right.
I'm going to hammer out, X amount of calls today. At least do it, or I'm going to have X amount of conversations. I'm going to keep calling until I talk to 5 people. And then once I talk to 5
Exactly.
people, then I'm done, right? So
Exactly.
you can create little steps. It doesn't always have to be gigantic ones. You don't have to combat your whole CRM system every single day as much as, it'd be great for you to be doing that, but there's times when it's
Totally.
just not feasible, or we're just not in the right mindset, right, to do those things. For sure.
Totally.
For
Totally.
sure.
Does anyone have any questions about, challenges that they're facing, or maybe even some successes, or, anything else that you want to add to the whole mix to it? Because remember, guys, this is for you. I know what I'm doing. Crystal knows what works. So
Really, it's just consistency, you guys. There's nothing. It's just, again, just making the time, setting the time. It's one of your pillars of real estate, right? So in your job, we have to have multiple pillars in order to create multiple streams of income. And your leads aren't the only stream or revenue that you have coming in. And so many people will focus solely on the one factor, the one pillar, and then dwell on that one pillar if it's not performing. It's just one of them, right? So if you know that, you run Facebook ads, for example, in your brain that one Facebook ad is not going to bring everyone that clicks on it, isn't going to essentially transact or convert into a lead. And you're okay with that because we have that understanding. And so the leads are a lot the same way, where you just have that understanding that they're not going to transact right away. And it takes a lot of the pressure off of yourself when you are reaching out to them, right? If we're anxious to get a
totally.
deal done, those, that anxiety of trying to get this to happen and anxiousness comes through the phone. It's received by the person on the other end. They can hear it in your voice, the way that you're talking to them, whether you believe it or not, and you'll start to notice the resistance, right? So if you're just more
Totally.
relaxed with what you're doing, you're going to find your leads are going to be a lot more responsive to what it is that you are doing or communicating with them, because they're not feeling any kind of pressure. You're just, treating it as casual conversations or what have
Totally.
you. And so if you guys get caught up in your system, your lead should only take you 30 minutes to an hour at tops a day if you're caught up in there. A lot of your time is spent on your follow-ups, because that's where you're going to make the money, is continuously following up with your leads. It's where most people fail in any industry, not just real
Yeah.
estate. But then, you can go door knocking, and a lot of people don't like door knocking, but, pick your neighborhood. I think we talked about this some of the time before. Pick your neighborhood, just introduce yourself. The market's so uncertain right now, and I know there's a lot of questions flying around out there, curiosity. I'm just curious, do you have any questions about the market right now that I can answer for you? So it's not like you're trying to pursue them into anything. It's just letting them know that you're there, you're local. You have, your foot in the game because you live in that area. The home values of what you're listing and selling affect your home value. So you're going to, push a lot harder to achieve a higher selling price if they are thinking about making a move, right? So there's different tactics that you can use when you're talking to these people. It's not always just door knocking to get a listing. Yes, it is an objective. Of course, you want to get those listings, but it's also just making the community aware that you exist. And if you continue to do that and build those relationships, that's where, when neighbor Bobby decides to move in 3 years, well, you've been showing up on his, at his door every few months, just having a conversation. He's more likely to call you when that time comes.
Totally. And I think like, remember, like, you can be a transactional agent, but for me and how I built my business was more relationship. And even the way that I do these calls and structure them, they're more about relationship based. And like, that's all that you're doing in these calls. Like, realistically, you're not usually going to have the opportunity where you're calling them the first time and they're like, yeah, I want to buy this house with you. No problem. Like, it doesn't usually work like that. I mean, if it does, you should also play the lotteries, because I think you could retire as being a real estate agent. But I think at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day too, like, it's relationship based. What I do is I plant these seeds when I call these leads. And when time comes, since I'm always sending them drip campaigns and I'm always like putting them on something, they're like, oh yeah, Nick, I'm ready. And they call
Mm-hmm.
me. And like, that's the whole point of doing agent locator for me and, my strategy.
Yeah.
Regarding Rashid, regarding like having a hard time to convert the leads to the appointment. So I think maybe it's a scripting thing. Just because if they're saying that they're ready, and you're trying to book the appointment, they're saying no, come next week or the week after. I think it's the way that you're pitching it that they don't really see the value in it, because you have to remember that everyone's calling to book appointments and they're sounding like robots. And remember, like, people want to know if they're going to give you good money, they want to know that like you have their best interest, just like Crystal was saying.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a relationship business.
Yeah.
Transactional, they just shop based on how much they're spending and what they're getting. That's it.
Yeah. It's and there is the tactics. So if you guys have different packages and things like that, there's a realtor in life for me. I can't think of what his name is. He's a top performer in the US, and he uses the tactic. If I could show you how, would you be interested in? Right. So it's really listening and having conversations again with your leads, and you're grabbing all those valuable points and learning more about their situation. What they're looking to buy. Are they first time home buyer? Are they downsizing or whatever it is looking for? Right. So depending on where they're at and how that conversation is going. So let's say you have a person that's a first time buyer that's looking for a condo in Mississauga. Guess what you now specialize in? First time buyers specifically looking for condos in Mississauga. So that's your tactic, right? So it's like, so one of the things my team specializes here is on specifically the condo market in the Mississauga area, and direct connection with first time buyers. If I could show you how we were able to achieve lower interest rates and get our clients into properties that much faster, would you be interested in sitting down for a 15-minute one-on-one consultation to go through this program and see if we're even a good fit for each other? Right. So it's taking a pain point or a situation and leveraging that as an area of expertise that you offer. Right. So but you have to kind of have those different scenarios, right? Whether it's condo owners, first time buyers, people that are downsizing, right? So having that game plan, something that you can deliver to them that's going to be valuable, that they may want to. It could be a Zoom call. Like, hey, we could say, like, you don't have to come in. We can have a 15-minute Zoom, go through it. I have a presentation, tell you all about it. And then we can take the first steps if we feel like this is a good fit or we're ready to get started, or maybe you still have some things you need to do, but at least this program is available to you.
Totally. I just feel like most of the time it just comes down to mastering your scripts, because once you master your scripts and you know what you're saying, then you can lead the conversation, right? And that's what you want. And then during these conversations, you want to find out what their motivation is, and then basically do what Crystal was just saying, like, where it's like, okay, so I understand that you told me in our conversation that you want to be at your house with the best interest rate, and as fast as possible, while obviously getting the best price. Well, let me tell you, if there was a way to do it, would you be interested? Yes. Okay. When are you available to chat with me? Because you have to remember, like, you guys can't give everyone the answers right away, or else they're going to just take it and dismiss. You need to actually bring them on a level where they're going to understand and actually consider you. That's just like when you're door knocking and, you're door knocking, the person's like, oh yeah, you know what? Why don't you come in right now and give me a tour? Like, no, I usually just go like, I would love to, but let me book an appointment, just because I'm only going to be running through the street very quickly as I have another appointment. And so when are you available? Like, that's kind of what I would be doing. Because you don't have your tools there, right? Like, you need to make sure that, it's hard to find these quality leads. And when you get them, you don't want to miss your shot.
Absolutely.
So yeah. And then just responding to Lucy over here, I'm finding that our leads on hold right now responding. Yeah, I mean, some of them are doing that too, remember, but I also think that if they're not opening any of your emails or texts or whatever, I think that you need to find a lucrative way to provide value to them so they can open and respond to you. But remember, a lot of people are just coming onto the website. Some are just casually and they're just looking, and it doesn't mean that they're ready to actually buy, but you just want to make sure you connect with them. That's all I would be trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we've got Mario on here. Hi, Mario. How are you?
Hey, Mario.
Not bad. And yourself?
Good. Good.
So I kind of hear the points. I mean, the only problem is for me is I think I told Jason is just the kind of converting Crystal, because I follow up religiously compared. I mean, I'm always, but it's just trying to convert.
To the
And
next.
that's the issue with me, because you could follow up, and I mean, so unless you have a magic, it's just because I have people come in my site like since when I started last summer. They keep coming on, like, and I can't get them on the phone, or I send them, they open my. So some people are just, it's just a game at this point. It's just kind of chasing people and trying to get people to.
Yeah, it's really about discovering.
I mean, that's the dilemma I have. I mean, I follow up religiously, but it's just trying to get people.
Yeah.
To convert. I mean, converting is kind of an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you don't mind me asking, just so I can dive a little bit deeper, like, so are you getting them in the call? Like, are you talking to them, number one, at all? Like the leads that you're talking to?
Well, some of them, I've been with agent. Some of them have been since last summer. They keep popping in, and also I send them a quick text saying, but some of them I already have spoken. They keep coming looking for. So there comes a point where people have to make a decision. Like, I mean, they come. I mean, if you're looking for, I mean, the problem with me was people were coming when the market was really hot back in Christmas, right? Now that the market has kind of dipped a bit, because back before Christmas, people didn't want to buy because it was crazy, especially my market. Now the market, I mean, I'm in Barrie, so the market's gone like 200,000. A house that was going for like 1.1 in Christmas is going probably 800 right now. So people are thinking that the market, people think the shoe's good, because back before Christmas, there was no inventory in Barrie or anywhere, as you know. So people, when they came in, well, they couldn't really compete because they're competing with multiple offers. Now that the market has shifted, now people are just, it's kind of gone from really, really hot to really, really cold, but people are thinking, well, the shoe's going to drop, the rates are going to go up, so I'm going to wait for the prices to drop. So now that's a dilemma where buyers are saying, well, I'm going to wait 3 months, and I'm telling buyers, don't wait, because I say to buyers, if you wait, then the rates go up, then you're qualifying. So your rates are gonna be higher. So you're gonna be paying higher. I mean, there's a catch-22. You are gonna pay less for a home, or higher on interest. So you're never gonna. It's gonna balance.
You're gonna be and they're gonna be approved for less value of a home.
That's what I say to buyers. So I have one buyer. So I'm trying to. So that's the dilemma I have, is with buyers. When I started with Agent Locator, the market was really hot back in the fall. So that was a dilemma, because there was no inventory. So people were just waiting. Now that I have people. So buyers are just waiting now, because now they think there's more options, but they think, well, the shoe's going to drop. The inflation rate is gone up now. If you saw it today, it's close to 8%. So buyers think, well, the market's going to drop. It's going to drop more. It's going to drop more. And rates are going up in July again. So buyers are thinking, well, I should just wait, hold off, and maybe
let me ask you a question. I don't mean to interrupt you. Yeah. So like when I think, and I'll showcase it, but I think that, I think that it's more so of like a scripting thing, because I'll tell you, because I get the same kind of calls. Yeah. So I would basically say, like, hey, you know what? I totally understand that you're looking on waiting, but you know what? Let me ask you a question. How long have you been waiting for? Since the market's been crazy. Exactly. You know what? It's been 2.5 years since it's been a really heavy seller's market. So right now, buyers like yourself have an opportunity to purchase something not at top dollar anymore. You can actually now negotiate under, certain price points. So do you see how I already make it like,
I hear that. Right, I hear that. Yeah, I hear that, because I have some, like Nick, I have some buyers or some people in my database that they came in last, and I haven't spoken to them. I sent them emails, open emails. So some of them have been there for almost 9 months, and I haven't no chance. I mean, I called. I don't want to call them too much, but sometimes you have to kind of.
But you should though. But like really, because at the end of the day, remember, like how I take someone not answering the phone, even if it's like 13, 15, 18 times, because I've had those. The thing is like they're just saying not yet. So like.
Well, it comes not yet, but even after, but it comes a point where I understand. But if it comes like a year and they're searching, either they're serious or not serious. Because if you're going to be searching for about 9 months for a property, I mean, there's got to be
Well,
something in the
this is the
background that
thing though, you have to, yeah, but remember, like most people take 3 to 18 months. So right now they're in that middle, near the end of the stage of figuring out, okay, are they going to do it or not? You know, and I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. I'm just telling you what I would be doing if I was in that scenario. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah.
And I think it's more so just like also another script is listen, at the end of the day, you know, the biggest scare was not buying and selling in the same market, because sellers who were buying, you know, who bought first and now selling when the market shifted, now they're in a pinch and now you might see some issues. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's
But
gonna
right
be like
now,
20.
this is
It's
a
gonna be like yeah. There's some buyers who
right,
there's some sellers or some
right,
buyers who can't close because I don't know how your
right.
market is, but in Barrie the market's gone down
But
like 10-50%.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
no, same here, man. But like, listen, all I'm just trying to say is that you have to just remind them, like, look, right now there's more in your opportunity, even though like right now you just need to buy and sell in the same market. So we have that right
Yeah.
now, which is great, right? However, now what is super important about this is that homes that were never in your price range before are now in your price range. So this
Mhm.
is a really good opportunity. Yes, you're going to take less on the sale of your home, but now you have more opportunity to
Yeah.
purchase the home of your dreams. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I'm positioning things, and that's how I'm bringing my buyers up,
Mhm.
because of the same issues as you, right? Like my market fell, you know, about 200,000 like month per like in the last 3 months, right? But
Mhm.
like people are scared right now. People are scared.
Mhm.
They don't know, and you have to remember and tell your buyers. Remember, uncertainty is where opportunities lie, and you have to remember that with interest rates going up, it's creating uncertainty, which means it's a deal for you to get right now. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
I
once
hear that. I
everything is
hear that.
certain in the last 2 years, you know, prices were just going up, but it's when you buy in the uncertain times, that's when you make real money, you know? And
I hear
remember,
that.
real
Yeah.
estate, you buy and hold for 3 to 5 years and you'll make your money, right? So these are just other scripts I'm giving you. I understand that you're doing a great job. I'm just giving you other ammo when you do
Well,
chat with them. And I
I
feel
hear
like,
that. I hear that, Nick. Yeah, I do. I appreciate it. That's what I was saying to Chris and even to Jason is just trying to it's just trying to get the buyers to. I
come
mean,
on.
I
Yeah.
mean a buyer tonight, but it just trying. I mean, I have another buyer who I recommend to get a mortgage. So I try to because I mean I have a buyer who I kind of convinced to kind of speak to my mortgage person to get a pre-approval. So I mean I'm trying to shift. It's trying to get. Like I said, the buyers that they're not responding. I mean, they keep coming on the website. They keep looking, and they're not waiting. So at that point, but there comes a point where I'll let them keep looking, and if they don't answer the phone, I just let them keep searching my site. I mean, I know what they're doing. I mean, I know what they're doing on a daily basis. So I mean, either they're just waiting or they're just kind of shopping at this point. Right?
I look at listings every single day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just to like where like within
Yeah.
what I feel my price point is and the areas that I would want to move when I do move, and I look at them almost every single day.
Yeah.
I am not prepared to make a move whatsoever. Right? I'm in my friend's CRM system, so she jokingly sends me a message every now and then, but she knows like I'm not in any position to make a move. But if I was in your dashboard, I'd be driving you insane with my activity. I have a motive to move at some point. It's just not now, but I like to see what's happening with the market, what the prices are doing,
Yeah.
what's becoming available within my price point, which there seems to be more opportunity coming. So it's really just understanding that there's going to be people that do that, and there is that hindering thought, I will move. It's just I don't have a plan yet. I don't have anything. I'm kind of still now with the market doing what it is. It's kind of, I'm the uncertainty with what the mortgage, are we going to hit that recession in January like everyone says, and then the interest rates are going to start dropping again? I don't know. So it's that little bit of uncertainty as well, and the fact that it's overwhelming to think about making a move. So it's like a factor of a combination of things. It doesn't mean I'm never going to move. I am going to move. It's just not right now. I'm not going to transact in the next few months. I can promise you that much. One of the things, I'm just kind of browsing through your list here with the people that you've made contact with, and I'm just browsing through your notes that you're leaving in here, Mario. One thing that I'm missing in all your notes is a timeline. There's never a timeline in any of the notes. You'll have like criteria in some cases, or where they live, or where they want to buy, if they're pre-approved or not. I'm not seeing any comments with respect to a timeline. So the timeline is the number one most important bit of information for you to identify the frequency of your follow-up. Right? If somebody's just looking,
the timeline is kind of etched. It's kind of in my mind, Crystal, because I know the time. I know these leads. I don't know them personally, but I know them religiously because I know who they are. I've seen them for the past 6 months, so I know the timeline in the back of my head. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
so I know. Like I know.
So if I was to ask you right now, Simone Grayson, when is she planning on moving?
Simone she's on the fence because I know she lives in Brampton and she hasn't decided where she wants to live. If you read the notes, I spoke to her and she doesn't know if she wants to live. If she lives in Brampton, but she doesn't know if she wants to come to Barrie or if she wants to buy and sell. So she's over the map. If you read the notes, I know her personally. I spoke to her.
Okay.
Totally. So just to let you know, like I said, I recommend.
So I know these things. Like if you tell me about Simone, I know she doesn't know if she's coming or going. I know she doesn't know if she hasn't spoken to her husband. She doesn't know if she wants to be in Brampton or if she wants to come up to Barrie. She doesn't know where she wants to go in between. So she's kind of confused. So I mean, I can't so if she doesn't know where she's going, I can't really help her. I mean,
are you educating her on the various factors, right?
Yeah.
So it's trying to help her make that decision, right? Weighing out the pros and cons of each area and why this area would trump maybe this area or what have you. Sometimes we have to facilitate that.
But they're two different areas because she wants to be. I mean, I used to live in Brampton, so I know what she's talking. I mean, I used to live in Brampton about 10 years ago, so I know what she's talking about. She's figured out about her school, but she's got to worry about her husband. So she has so many factors that it's not black and white, Crystal, with Simone.
No, it's never black and white. It's never.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
That person there, do they have a house to sell?
Yes.
Okay. Is she on Nosy Neighbor already?
I don't know. Is she? I have no idea.
Okay. So like that's number one. Whenever we have a seller, we put them on Nosy Neighbor because that gives them a tool that allows them to know when someone's going to sell or buy in that neighborhood and how much it goes for and when it just gets listed. Number one, that's number one I would do. Number two, what the difference that I would have done is I'd be like, hey, you know what? I see that you're in your, I see that you're active. I see that you're looking for a couple months. And we understand that, you don't know if you want to be in Brampton or Barrie, which, hey, I totally understand because there's so much, thought that needs to go into that. Are you available on Saturday or Sunday? I'll take some handpicked list. I'll come to Brampton. I'll show you some houses there. And then the following week, let's go to Barrie and I'll show you some properties there. But remember, like, if we're going to go out, like, and then you got, like, I don't know about you, but like when I go out, I get them to sign a commitment just, when I go out, right? So any leads that I'm doing from Agent Locator, I'm getting them to sign the BRA for when I go out. So if you don't do that, just know you're risking. If you do that, then you're good, but like, that's how I would lead it because then you're building a relationship with her because you have to remember, like, there's other people that she's came onto that website and you don't know if you already lost her. Yes, you might just go on your website just to see what's going on, but like she's probably might be using another agent. Maybe not, right? But like that's the difference that you're going to be because you have to start thinking of like, okay, what is my competition doing? My competition, 90% of them are just saying, hey, like you're not ready. Okay, no problem. Let me know when you're ready. Here's some information. I'll send you some listings. But what we notice from our buyers coming in, they don't want to see a list. They want you to pick like a hand-picked list and take them out and make that process. Like, that's what I'm learning. These buyers are just getting pickier.
Well, yeah, sometimes they, like, for a lot of us, the larger the purchase is, the more on the fence we get, right? It doesn't matter what it is. It could be like appliances and you're having to spend $10,000 on all new, you kind of sit on the fence. You need sometimes somebody to kind of take your hand and say, okay, this is what I suggest we do. Right. So, and this is why this and this and this. So which one? So it's kind of like you're facilitating and encouraging the next step. Some individuals definitely need that. They need to get from on the fence to kind of popping onto just the other side of the fence so that they can start moving away from that fence. It can definitely be trickier with some for sure. One powerful question you can ask your leads is the what has to happen question. Do you ever talk to your leads about that at all? The what has to happen?
What?
Mario?
Not really. No, I don't get into.
No. So the what has to happen?
What happened? Yeah, I mean, some of them I would.
Yeah, it's a really great question when you're really trying to figure out, what's holding them back from making that move. So if the conversation's going decent and, you know, you can kind of regurgitate some of the things that they've said back to you, but you can say like, but ultimately, Darlene, you know, what's actually going to need to happen here in order for this move to be possible for you guys? Right. So sometimes your lead will expel a ton of information, all those hurdles and obstacles that they're trying to get over or get through in order to make this next step. All those obstacles are just leverage for you. It's identifying to you, you know, based on their situation, timelines, all these different things, what may need to happen that you can do to help facilitate, what resources, information, and how you can guide them through that process. So like the more information we're grabbing from our leads, just about their story, the more powerful your follow-ups are going to be, the better you're going to be able to facilitate those leads and get them to the next step.
For sure. Sorry, I don't know what happened there, but all I was just saying is that, like, you know, you just got to think about what your competitors are doing, and you know, most of them are not even doing that. And if you show that you care, that's where you're building a relationship. So whenever you're ready, she's ready, she'll call you. I've had leads where I haven't called them in like 8 months, which is like really bad. But then they actually call me like, "Hey Nick, I'm ready." You know, and usually what I find is like, as long as on the first time you're on the phone with them for 15 to 30 minutes and you're actually talking about real estate and building a solid connection, you're pretty much locked in.
Mario, what are you doing in sense of follow-up? Like, how are you reminding yourself as to when to follow up with these people? Like, what do you?
Well, I mean, if I look at my database, so I see, I mean, some leads have dropped off. I try to follow. I go on it every day. I see in the morning, afternoon, I see what they're doing. I mean, some people, they haven't been, the ones that have 3 to 6, 9 months, I don't really follow up because some of them I really haven't spoken to, so they've just dropped off. So I mean, I've sent an email last week to all my leads, even the ones I haven't spoken to, and I send like a blast email talking to, because my mortgage person, she gives me a weekly email, like a weekly interest rate update. So last week, what I did was I sent an email to all my, even the ones I haven't spoken in 6 months, I just sent a blast email saying, you know, the market. So at least the ones who haven't been lucky for 3 to 6 months or 9 months, I just sent everyone an email saying, you know, this is the market update. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm going to be sending like a weekly. I told my mortgage broker to send me a weekly email. And I'm going to try to do it every week now. Just send a blast email to everyone, even people I haven't spoken to. Say this is the market, the rate. So at least it's going to open their eyes now that the market's shifting, because now the rates, like I said, a 5-year close is like it's 5.25 now as of this week. So I'm that's what I'm doing now is a follow up, is sending like a blast email to all the buyers, just to kind of give a market update what's going on. I mean, that should help them too. Right.
For sure. So what I would recommend is
it should put a panic in some people's. It should put a panic or like alarm bar in some, because if you look at
the thing is like that might not even be their motivation. Like that's the problem, right? Like right now you're just thinking of financials. Sometimes it's not even just about that. It's about like just having someone to explain things to them. You got to think about it. Like when someone comes to your agent locator website, it's like coming into a store. How many times have we come into a store just to look at a product, pick up something, like, which is a house at this point, put it down and leave? How many times does that happen? So many times. The difference that we have now is we actually have a communication that we can be like, hey, come back to the store. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so what I recommend is when I'm doing the calls, I always put, especially if I'm, making calls, like my goal is for next week is to start filling up tasks to call people and follow up with them. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to, and like make sure it's in your calendar. So you basically time block the time that you need to do, because the problem with this industry for a lot of agents is they don't time block. Like, remember the 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours that we're spending, like to call a day or whatever it is, like you need to guard that with your time. That's your money time. If you're not doing that, like you're not making money. And like, if you're not making money, that's cool. Just do what you need to do. But like, you have such a great like CRM that can really help you out. And I would recommend making as many notes as possible, just because that really does help you. Like I was always fighting Crystal about this, but you want to also make too. I'm assuming you're a solo agent.
I am.
Are you a solo agent? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Because do you have, in the next 1 to 5 years, are you looking to, have at least another person on your team, or do you want to just be a solo agent for the rest,
For now,
which
it's
is cool.
just
There's nothing wrong with
yeah, and of
nothing.
course, so just for now, I haven't thought that far, but for now, just myself to manage,
Okay, because the reason why I'm saying this is because as your leads get older and maybe you don't connect with them or whatever, maybe a year from now you're going to hire someone to be a buyer's agent for you, and now you have leads for them to call. You need to make sure that you're writing detailed notes so that someone who picks up this lead already knows everything about it, and that gives them the better success of winning.
Okay.
That's what I would recommend, because I have two agents on my team, so I know what it is. And I would recommend, like, if people are not picking up, I would recommend calling on the agent locator line that you have. If you're not calling on that, then call on your cell phone, but switch the numbers up
Sometimes
so you catch them off guard.
it does hit and miss. I know.
Because for
if
most
I-
of those leads, you need to have like a text, an email is not going to do it. You need to,
Oh, you cut out there for a second. There you go. Just kind of piggyback because Nick's cut out there. How, just for everyone on here, how I kind of guide you guys to leave your notes is to leave your notes as if you're expecting your colleague to do the follow-ups for you. That way you're not withholding information that you feel confident that you're going to remember, because there's always going to be little tidbits of information, the fine details that may not stick with us, right? So and then if you're leaving those, so I can see, Mario, in your system, you're using the lead details and you're putting the bulk of those conversations, so you make the fine point notes. So being just a little bit more, if you can, just based on a conversation, a little bit more detailed, things about their family, like if you talked a little bit outside of real estate, so just more rounded notes. But for every note you're adding, I would also put the date. Right. So you can refer back to that. So last time when we spoke in May, you guys were kind of thinking that, maybe you'd be moving at the end of summer. Are you guys still on track with that, or if things shifted a little bit? Right. So you're able to kind of refer back to those conversations and when they happened. And, people can be a lot more receptive to that because they feel like you're actually engaged in listening to them and partaking in that conversation. They weren't just another number, another person that you're just calling. Right. And again, I haven't listened to calls or anything like that. But it helps to build that relationship, and they tend to be a little bit more responsive because they actually feel like a person to you. Right. So that's my 2 cents for everyone, is to do that. The other thing that in your system as well, Mario, is I can see your filters are typically in good shape. With respect to the follow-up filters, I don't think you're using them. It can be tricky for many to understand those filters. I'd be happy to go through a session just to kind of run through that with you to see how that could help you stay on track. So you're not spinning your wheels, calling people unnecessarily just because they're active. We're calling them based on that original conversation as to when they indicated to us when they plan on moving. Right. So somebody that expresses to you, oh, we're going to probably move next spring, you're probably not going to follow up with them weekly just because they're active. Right. So you're probably going to follow up a little spread out, or, including some text maybe in there just to make sure things are good. But it's going to be a little bit more spread out. So it gives you time and opportunity to nurture the new leads. So it really just keeps you on track with respect to when you should be calling individuals. And because even though our intentions are good with a follow-up, and the follow-up should always be customer service oriented, we just want to make sure things are good. They don't need anything from us. For some individuals, if we're kind of going and we're like, hey, I noticed that you're checking out these listings, you guys thinking about making us go and take a look at them, which is our natural, like we want them to do that. Some people take that as a sales tactic, right? This guy's now trying to push me into a house. I told him that I wasn't going to move to next spring, and now he's trying to get me to go look at houses this weekend. Like, was he not listening to me? Did he not listen to what I said? Right? And so then they start to ghost you. They stop being responsive because they feel like they weren't heard with what they communicated to you. I always kind of try to say like the same with ourselves, right? So we all get calls from now and then and whatever, whether we're interested or not. And some people are just relentless. Like, we're not actually interested, get over it kind of thing, right? And then we just start avoiding those people because it's uncomfortable. We don't want to put ourselves in those situations. I'm just going to keep avoiding them until they stop calling me. If that makes sense. right? So somebody that was planning to move next spring, we'd follow up with them in about three months, maybe even 6 months the next time around, right? They kind of fallen off our radar because we know they've communicated with us what their intentions are. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because you could be calling them with like full good intentions. I'm not saying you're not. It's just some people take that as different, and or you're spending time on leads that don't need your time at this point. So Raman, so anyone that wants to do that, just send an email to support. Okay, so support@agentlocator.ca, and just put it in a request. Make sure you put my name, because I won't remember all your guys' names, and I'll assign you to your original trainer. Some of them can definitely show you how, but I noticed that sometimes you guys aren't using them, even though they may have been discussed in follow-up sessions. And what I like to do is kind of break it down. So, going through those call filters with you, and then giving you your homework, and then looping back in a week or two to see how you are making out with them, adjusting anything that may need to be adjusted, tweaking campaigns, things like that, because everything's easier in bite-sized pieces. Doesn't matter what it is. The smaller you do at a time, the easier it is to accomplish, to get over, get up that hill and get over it. Because they truly can help. And I have one of my clients, I kind of, brag about him a little bit. His filters are empty every single day. If I jumped into his filters this afternoon, there'd be no one there. And I think he's got about 900 leads. So he is just on top of his follow-ups, but he's categorized them, right? He knows that somebody that's not moving for another year doesn't have time on his dashboard today because they're a year out. I don't need to call them, they're a year out, right? So it's just staying organized. I'm pretty confident he's going to hit about a 2% conversion rate this year. So he's, sometimes it's just organization and knowing when, based on those timelines, again, to take that conversation to the next level, right? Or if you have those, Mario, when you have those seller leads that that they have a house in Brampton and they have to sell it, are you trying to get in the door for an evaluation, if you feel, even if it's like a premature evaluation, right? They're not moving for whatever, let's say 6 months. Do you still try to get into the door for the evaluation?
Well, I try to be honest, Krista. I try to. Right now, it's mostly buyers. The one from Brampton, no, I haven't really gone into that specific. Most of the leads right now, they're on the buying side right now.
Yeah.
So I really haven't got into the conversation.
Yeah. And so one thing that you can do, because again, you're finding some of those questions, like I'm seeing it in your notes, like that they own a home or they're currently renting. So I know you're asking that question on many of your leads. So one thing you can do is, even if you do have a seller that maybe on the fence or what have you, is offering, I'll be happy to come and swing by, no obligation, do a quick walk around, give you an approximate value of where your home is currently in today's market. But I can also give you some advice on some areas that may need some remedy to them that may also help boost the value of your home. Seeing as you guys, are on the fence or about a year out, it gives you the opportunity to start tackling these things so that you will get that higher list and asking price when the time does come. Yeah, some people will go for it, right? Some people won't.
Because I have a new lead that came in. She has a condo to sell, and I spoke to her Saturday, and so I'm hoping. She says she's coming to Barrie next week, but I have to see what happens with her, because I know I sent her a potential. I called her, but I don't know if I should call back, because I sent her a quick test off my phone, but I know what she's looking for. She's pre-qualified. She's looking to buy. She's ready to pull the trigger, but I have to figure out if I do call her, because I called her back a couple of days ago. I sent her a potential listing. It looks nice in Barrie, so she's coming back next week. But unless I could convince her to come to Barrie this week, because I know it's good, because it's price. Because she has a condo, but she already has an agent in the city to sell her condo, right? So I don't know if I called her a couple of days ago. She works at home, so I don't know if I should just kind of give her time to think about it. I don't want to bombard her with phone calls. I called her twice, so.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Some people,
it can, so for some people there is that bit of hesitation, or things are moving too quickly and they're not ready, and we're like, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm ready for this.
Well, that's the thing with Tara. Like I do listen to the Tara, and I was telling Nick, is just trying to, it's the conversion, trying to get them from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And there's gotta be, I mean, there's gotta be not a magic potion solution. It's gotta be somewhere where
Totally.
because these people, they, you know, they don't know, even if you bring value, Nick, and I'm being cynical. I mean, they don't know you. They probably deal with other people. The trust factor too is for them to meet you. And that's the thing, even if, you know, even if you bring value to them, is just trying to get them on the, I mean, I think I just, the follow-up is just to kind of meet them is to meet them in person, right? I mean, I'm lucky to have I have a showing today. So there's a lady I'm meeting. She sold her house, so she wants to buy. So I'm meeting with her today at 4. So that kind of is a good thing. So,
Nice.
but that's the thing is trying to get people on the other side, Nick, you know?
Right. But I think there's a few things. Sorry, I don't know what was going on my end. Like, it kept kicking me in and out. So sorry about that. So a few questions that I just want to ask was, okay, so like, what are the questions that you're asking in there? Because I mean, you know, I think when I was hearing before I got kicked out was, you know, I don't know if people know if they have to sell first, because you know, most people that come in are buyers. But what I noticed is at least 35% to 40 of them like need to sell a house. Well, so I think
I know we ask those questions. Like, I know if I get them on the phone, I mean, I know we ask. I mean, that's are you looking to sell? Are you looking at, are you selling? Are you renting? I mean, I kind of go through the pre-qualifying stuff. And I know most people that I deal with now, they're renting right now. Most of them are first-time home buyers. I mean, they're not really selling, but they're just renting and looking to get in the market. So those are the people, I think 80% of people that I speak to are renters and looking to get into the market, right?
And do you have a first-time buyers package that you could offer them? So if a majority of the leads or individuals that you're coming across are indicating a specific situation, do you have something to offer that?
Well, I do. I mean, I kind of go through the protocol in terms of I mentioned to all my buyers, I say to them, you need to get pre-qualified. You need to know, because I want to be, you know, I've had situations where I've showed people homes, they fall in love with homes. You need to get pre-qualified in today's market. You need to know your magic number before I start showing you homes, because if I start showing you homes and you fall in love with homes and then you're not qualified for these homes. Like I said, I had one lady, and she told me credit is king, Nick. So I had one lady and husband and wife, the credit is not good. And I spoke to my mortgage broker. She was married. They have to wait a year to get to repair the credit. You need at least a 650 credit. Even if you go to a B side, and so unfortunately she can't buy for another year because her credit is really bad, her and her husband. So I can't really. I mean, I can't help them because
you have to wait. It's a waiting game.
You have to wait.
Right?
So I mean, the credit. I mean, if you're not putting 20% down, I mean, even on private financing, you won't be able to get a mortgage, even on private. Even with
you need at
that
least 20% down.
Yeah, so but she has less than 20% down, so she can't even get a private mortgage, and she's not happy. But there's not much I can do. I mean, she could, you know. And I've had some people one guy who's upset with me because he told me off by text because he's upset because he wants to buy a house, and I told him, I said, you know, he wants to buy a house, but he doesn't have a down payment. So, but there's much I can do. You could be upset with me. You can say, well. Some people get upset because I'm just the messenger. You know, I'm the messenger. If your credit's not good, if you don't have a down payment, there's not much I can do on my end.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So remember, they're upset with themselves, though, right? Like they're upset with themselves because they chose to be in this. You know, regardless if you're 50, 60 years old, like, you know, or 40 and you can't buy. Like, unfortunately, like, yes, I understand their struggle. I mean, I've been through my own. I'm sure everyone here has too. But like, you know, 40 years, that means that you've been making really bad decisions for like at least 35 years straight. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you know, you have to let them know sometimes, like, I'm real and raw. Like, hey, you know what? I totally understand that you're upset, but remember, like, I'm just kind of like facilitating the sale. But you have to remember, if you're upset, you need to be a little bit upset about yourself. Honestly, at the end of the day, they hang up, but like, really, you're being real, right? And people don't like hang up on real. You know,
so that's
I can call one or two of your leads, but I need your 4-digit code to log in because I've been sitting at the screen for a bit. But I also don't know if, like, with my internet connection, I don't know what's going on. I go to the office, I work from home. I don't know. The internet doesn't love me. I don't get it.
So Nick, and I usually, if you want, you can, like I said, I usually in today's market, I tell my buyers, I don't know if you go through the same. Like I said, I said to my buyers before we start kind of looking at homes. I have one buyer now. Her and her boyfriend, So she finally spoke to her. So she did a pre-approval. I said, before we start looking, I said, you need to have a pre-approval. So she sent me a text. She did the online application. The boyfriend hasn't filed his taxes yet for 2021. So so I said, well, and so you have to have all your ducks in order. So she's going through the whole documents right now. And I said, before I start looking at homes with you, and she's the first time, she's a renter. I said, you need to have a pre-approval. I need to know what your magic number is, because I don't want to go into situation blindly. You fall in love with a home and then you're not qualified, and then everything else becomes. So most of the people I encourage them to get a pre-approval to know what the number is. I've done it before, Nick, where I take buyers and I said, my job is just not to open the door. I mean, I've done situations where I open doors for buyers, but that's not my job. My job is not to open doors and show you houses. My job is for you to buy a home. And if you fall in love, and then, so some agents like to do that. They like to show houses for some reason, but that's on me. You need to know where
I think at the end of the day, and I used to be like this, is like, you want to have certain things in order, right? But you have to understand that everyone, like we both know in real estate, all of us, that no transaction is the same. What works for someone on the other one, it might not be the same for the other one. For some of these leads, like what I have done is, you know what? Okay, I understand. You know what? I totally get it. It's hard to just, be motivated when you don't know, what to do and you're seeing all these opportunities. Why don't we do this? You get your person to start filing your thing this week. And on Friday, let's go take a look to see 2 or 3 houses that I think as a first-time buyer, you'll be approved. But remember, I don't know until you guys get that paperwork. Because like what I tell my team, like leads won't move unless they're motivated. And some people need to see to be there and like be like, okay, I want to get this done. And worst comes to worst, if they fall in love and
gonna get kicked out again. His internet is obviously not great at the office.
And man, like it's different. People are not responding to the same thing. People needs to, like, some deals have to be a little bit lucrative, and sometimes you have to take them out first, which I don't recommend unless like you, and when I'm talking about that, you built a solid relationship with them. It's been 3, 5, 6 calls.
Yeah, of course.
And like they're still dragging their heels. You need to find something different to make them move.
Yeah, of course, makes sense. And I have situations where, I've had the situation where, buyers, I take them out, people I know, and then eventually they fall in love with the wife falls in love with the home, they fall in love with the home, and then the mortgage kind of collapses because they're not already pre-approved, right? So
totally. But you don't take them out like
that's the
you just take them out once to get the process moving. You know what I'm saying?
Course,
like because if calling and texting and doing all these things haven't worked and they're still in day one, okay, let's go out for lunch, let's go out for coffee, let's go fucking do something. Sorry for my language, but let's go do something to get you moving. Because remember, when you first chatted with me, you told me that one of your goals is to get into a house at X amount of time. Well, we're approaching that time really fast, and you're kind of there, but like you're just kind of like, you have to position things differently. Like what we need to do better at, not saying you, but just in general for anyone that's on the call, is finding out where that lead is and then giving that information back to them. That sounds super attractive to get the appointment. Okay. You know what I mean? Like that's what you have to do. Oh, okay. So I understand that, like, you need to move because there's a job change. So that.
Okay.
Reason. I think that another thing, just from the sounds of it, I'm sure a lot of you encounter it as well as, first-time buyers, to having a program for that. Whether you run seminars, like having like whatever where people can register for to learn a little bit more, you maybe have a mortgage expert on there explaining some things. But also if you have a financial advisor, so, educating yourself a little bit more, running, again, different webinars or, something that you can offer these individuals as to, okay, so you've got poor credit, you need to fix your credit in order to buy, a financial advisor may have different tactics that can actually expedite that, right? That they can be doing. So instead of it being a whole year to get that credit up, maybe they can accomplish it in 6 months instead, right? So let's fast track this to get you into. So when you can offer more, like a reason to draw them in, whether you do it and you're educating yourself by having this, financial advisor on a webinar with you, and it's open to everyone. And then you're also gaining that knowledge so that you can pass that information along to individual and really add that value. Well, I've got a great product or service for individuals like you. It's a fast track program for individuals that are facing issues with gaining a pre-approval, whether it's due to poor credit or just saving for down payments, things like that, where we give you tips and tricks on how to repair your credit, 3 times faster, as well as, like conventional or outside of the box thinking as to how you can actually be saving money for a down payment in areas that you didn't even know existed, right? So offering something of value to those individuals, you might get people in there and interested. They're not all going to sign with you, but you're also gaining that knowledge as well that you're going to be able to pass along in future conversations as well, and use in your own presentation, right? So what I can offer you is I have a great program here that I offer for first-time buyers just like you. If I could show you what this program is in about 15, 30 minutes, we can do it online. If you don't feel comfortable meeting in person just yet, that's fine. And I can show you what it's all about. We can even see if we're even a good fit for each other, right? So it's finding different things of what your most common objection or roadblock is with your lead and trying to find an alternate way to facilitate it and offer value. Because a lot of your competition, if these people are in other systems, a lot of your competition who's calling them is encountering the same conversation, right? But they're also not fulfilling, they're not offering a solution to the problem. So if you start offering the solutions, and you're not expecting anything in return at that moment, that's when you start to build the trust with these people. They start to value your input and information that you're offering. Nick is frozen on the screen again. Rashid is asking a little bit about timeline, how it works in Agent Locator. So Rashid, with respect to the timeline, so I have, if you guys look in your CRM system, some of you guys have check-in filters, some of you may not. We can definitely add them in if you don't have them in there. Those are there. It's really facilitated by you tagging a lead based on the conversation of what they expect their timeline to be. Even somebody that's just looking, there's always a potential timeline, right? An approximate, like if you had a crystal ball and you shook it or magic wand, when ideally would you be in your new house, like your next house? Are we thinking like next year or the year after? It doesn't have to be exact, just kind of general idea. That's going to also help you understand, where their mindset is at with respect to this move, so you know how to follow up with them. If they really, really don't know, they have no intentions of making a move, you can put them on a 3 month, like a quarterly or a 6 month check-in, just to see how they're making out with everything. But that's where you're just tagging them, and then it's just your filters, going through your filters every single day, clear. And your goal is to ultimately just clear them out, is what you can do. Mario, you could do that on, for the people that you've made contact with, is kind of going through and throwing a check-in tag on them based on, what you recall from those conversations about those timelines. They're going to fall off that made contact list for you, and they're actually going to fall into one of your check-in filters. And then it's just a matter of, going through your check-in filters daily. And then really the people that are in your made contact, or people that you may have made contact with, but you need to find out a little bit more information about their motivations and timelines to know how to appropriately follow up with them. So there's ways that you can tweak that filter, so that you're calling them, every 5 days, trying to get them on the phone again with you. So sometimes they might have just responded to a text message and then you're struggling to get them on the phone. There's all different scenarios, right, that we encounter, but it's really just, leveraging and using what you have, and then being like I think you're doing a great job with respect to calling your leads. You're working your database, from what I see. It's now just, facilitating timelines and follow-ups and doing that according to their timelines. So you're not coming across as, transactional conversations, right? So if we're too transactional in our conversations, sometimes, especially if somebody's further out, that's when you're going to find that resistance from them. They're just going to drop off and not care to communicate with you as frequently as you would hope they would want to, if that makes sense. And
Sorry,
yeah, it's all good. All good. And I don't think
So-
that even though you have access to a system, I feel like with your internet dropping, it's probably not a good idea to
100%,
call.
yeah. So I was
Yeah.
gonna say, Mario, make sure you come like 2 weeks from now to the next live in, because then I'll start like instead of talking, we'll just get right into dialing the leads. And I'll probably just be at home because like I can't believe my office is dropping so much internet. That's so crazy. I'm so sorry about that.
You should talk to your broker and say I was holding a live professional event.
I know, right?
And you should just make it seem like it was a really big deal, and you just lost like 18 buyers.
So at this point, I mean, 2 weeks would be great. At this point, sometimes people have to kind of shed and get off the pot at times too, Nick, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
But
Sometimes you have to be not kind of a-hole, but you got to be aggressive with people. So, I mean, I know real estate's cutthroat, but you have to be aggressive at times too. Like
you
can't,
I think the word is direct. That's what I tell my
you do, but I mean,
you
got to be direct. But sometimes you can't have you can't have the white glove treatment. Sometimes you gotta take out the gloves, and you gotta tell people directly, because I mean, if some people, I mean, you got to be nice and courteous, but sometimes you got to be direct. You got to be kind of a little, kind of poke. You got to. And maybe that's why I'm not. Being a salesperson is kind of greasy at times. I mean, and you got to be like that too with people.
Definitely in certain scenarios, yeah, and that's also getting them off the fence, right? Or being real with them, right?
You got to be real with people too at times too, and it's hard now, especially being the seller now is kind of hard, because I know a lot of sellers. I've heard in my office, a lot of sellers are upset because their homes are not selling now. So a lot of sellers are upset because there's no showings and the homes are not selling, and that's
But I also think that like it's based on like I think that I mean this is what it is. Remember, we're all independent contractors, right? But I mean, like, remember, if you're not like it just sounds like most of the things in your market is just pricing really high and they're just sitting on the market, right? So like right now, more than anything, there's more opportunity because there's more listings on the market, which in turn means more buyers that are actively opening. A lot of people who could not buy in the last 2.5 years are on the fence now, but if you get them at the right time and you script well, you're going to get a lot of like there's a lot of opportunity in this market. This is the reason why I picked real estate. Real estate is a recession proof, meaning that there's always going to be people that need to buy and there's always going to be need people to sell. So like I would get that mentality, not saying that you have it. I'm just saying anyone out that window, as long as you're doing your calls from 2-3 hours a day for 5 days, dude, you're going to make money and you're going to be closing deals. If you're not, then you have a scripting problem. What you're saying is not coming across what your clients or what the prospect buyers or sellers are looking for. So you have to switch up the lingo. You got to switch up like, a few things. So I think that at the end of the day, I feel like it's more of a scripting thing. And it's just like, write out the conversation that you would say to everyone. Like for any of my agents that we have, I'm letting them know, like before you're calling me, give me the whole script. Give me the script of the intro, then finding out if I need to buy or sell. If I do sell, where are you taking it and how you're getting them on the nosy neighbor. If you are buying, okay, what's your criteria? Are you pre-approved? What's your time? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many, like, you need to know that your script's like that, because once you do, dude, like, I don't, like, even Kayla, like, don't forget about me. Kayla's like my other rep. She used to need to call 100 leads. Then it was 50 leads, then 25 leads in order to get one solid lead, But now she's at like, 5 calls and she'll get 1 or 2 people now because her scripts are on fire.
Okay.
So that's what it is. And it's thinking outside the box. Hey, I understand that you're not ready yet, but are you available this weekend so I can showcase some homes, that you might like in that Brampton area? And then once you're out there, it's going to get them curious about how much their house is worth. Hey, listen, I totally understand you're just in the information stage, but right now, more than anything with the shifting market, you need to be spot on with how much you're getting for your house, because any dip in that or any increase in that will make a difference in your next purchase. So, I understand that you're, a little bit out there, but this is what you need in order to get your real estate equation correct. So when are you available for me to take a quick tour? Like, do you see the differences? Like, I already know most people are not asking the way I'm asking it. If you say like the way I'm saying it, you're going to get it done most of the time.
Okay.
But it's being direct. It's being confident. It's letting them know, like, listen, you need to know this shit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's where I'm getting it. It's like, okay, getting the relationship nice. They like me. I like them. Okay. let's get direct. Let's get a little bit more, like you're saying, white gloves off, and let's, build this thing up. You know what I mean? So like that's what I'd be looking for. I think it's a scripting thing, because you clearly you're following up, and clearly you're, talking to people, but I think it's a scripting thing. Like if you didn't know how to get into Nosy Neighbor, I would watch either book a time with Crystal, or even message me, or even watch some of our videos, like maybe about 7 episodes ago, because I talk about how to put them in and the scripting for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because we have like 100 seller leads just in our database that are getting daily listings and sold price points.
Okay.
And that helps because you're staying top of mind. Anytime that a thing happens and you built that relationship, they're going to call you, hey, Nick, I need you to come over and give me that assessment now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Makes sense.
Awesome. So Mario, you're welcome to pop in again not next, or
Weeks.
it's going to be,
Yeah,
what
and
day
then
is
if
it?
you have
Yeah.
2 weeks, then you have you said the filters and the timelines. I'll go
It'll
back
be in
and
3 weeks, actually. It'll be 3 weeks, because we don't do a session next week. Because we had 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, I missed those 2 sessions. I know Nick was busy. I know there's 2 sessions because Nick was busy. And then
Yeah, there's 5 Wednesdays this month. So next week, we don't have any kind of live dialing session. So the next one with Nick is going to be on the 13th of July.
Okay.
Already.
Okay.
Kind of gross that
you
we're already
said
going to be in there.
And kind of work on the timeline and scripts. See if I'll work on the scripts and see.
Mm-hmm.
And try to see.
Yeah,
And the
you're doing a good
timelines,
job, right? And remember, like, kudos to you to being up on the podium, because a lot of people get nervous. But remember, like, we're not criticizing you. If anything, we're just giving you a better route so that you're more successful when you're calling these leads and getting a better mindset on like what they're looking for. Because sometimes it's hard to speak someone's language when you don't really, haven't had a conversation.
I understand. No, that's why I just want, because I think it's a scripting. I think and then the timeline, the filters, all that stuff. I'll kind of go back and then the calls. Like I'll see what I can get the call. I mean, to make 2-3 hours of calls, it's kind of challenging because I probably have 100. I mean, my database is not, because I had to clean. I mean, I probably could spend like an hour and a half, because I don't have a lot of leads in with,
Sure.
most of the leads have fallen off the wagon. So I'm not, the ones at 3 to 6, 9 months, I'm not gonna really call them unless they come back, I'll give them a shout, right? Like I've had some leads that come back after 30 days. I can call them and see what changes and see how I could help them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But leads that haven't been on your data, leads that haven't really seen your website for 6 months, Nick, you're not going to call them, are you?
Yeah.
Would you? Or would
I'll
you?
call people out a year out.
Yeah.
You still call
You're,
them?
Like those are better. Those are actually, if they're still coming to your website and you're calling them 6 months, a year out, they're probably almost ready. Remember, 3 to 18 months.
Well, I had a lead that, like I said to Crystal, I mean, she's been, I have a lead and she keeps coming, and I called her, but it always goes to voicemail. And she's
Call
been
her on the other line.
Yeah.
No, there's only one line she has, and she's been
No,
on.
you, because you have like a Twilio.
No,
number,
I
right?
call them both. And it still
Yeah.
goes to voicemail. And she's been there since August of the 2 have been August of last year, almost a year now. And she pops in, pops out. She gets like 300-400, and she hasn't unsubscribed. She's getting like 300 emails, constantly getting emails with, and some people are getting 300-400 emails, and constantly on my site, and they're not unsubscribing for some reason. They're getting bombarded with emails on a daily basis, and they're still. And so some people are just getting emails. They probably like my emails, and they're still looking after a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those people are either they got to be motivated in some ways. If you're getting 300-400 emails from me in 1 year, and you're not unsubscribing, there's got to be a disconnect somehow.
Well, like I said, maybe they're already using another agent. They're just looking. But I would just keep doing your thing, right? Like that's just what it is. Remember, like, a lot of people are just in the information stage right now. So the more that you can make them comfortable while, them feeling that you are a professional, then you're good. I just think the best thing that you need to do is just know your scripts a little bit better and then keep being you, because people only work with people they like. So just do you.
Yeah, of course. It makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be scared to, if you want more leads, I mean, I don't know everyone's, financials, but like spend more money. The more money that you're spending out, and especially if you're hungry and you're making the calls, you're going to get paid faster.
you know, I understand. And it's quite, I've noticed it's kind of quiet, and I have another agent from my office, and the leads are
Yeah.
kind of, the
Even
lights
on
are
my
kind of,
end.
yeah, because I'm surprised that the market it's a buyer's market now, but the leads are kind of more, it's quieter on, I for some reason, because I thought people would be kind of going on Google more now that the market is kind of hot, but people, for some reason, people are not looking.
Summer though.
Yeah.
It's summer, man. People are just doing their thing. I think personally, like we'll probably see another spike at like end of July, maybe beginning of August.
Well,
Because like people are gonna come back.
The rates are gonna go up again by July, that they're saying. So I mean, the rates
We'll
are
see what
gonna be.
happens.
Sorry.
See, it's going to be interesting because even if rates go up, cool, fine. But what's that going to do? Dry up the listings. So then when there's less listings, prices are not going to go down. They're going to go up. So someone's going to pay even just more interest on a house that they want. So it's like, you know, it's more of educating them. Because like that's what I'm telling all our leads. So it's like, okay, you want to wait. Let's play this out. If interest rates go up another %, you know, and we're heading into less inventory naturally in the market, which is like October, November, December. How do you think you're going to product do you think you're getting? Because the product you think you're getting now, if you're thinking of getting a detached, it's probably going to be a condo townhouse. You know what I mean? So it's just like, this is how I'm educating my clients when I'm talking to them over the phone.
Okay.
The goal is to keep them on the phone for 15 to 30 minutes with value propositions.
Okay.
Once they know who you are and you schedule a call, and that's where you set the task, right, on your lead. Hey, you know what? I know we had a great call. What I'll do is I'll update the search criteria and I'll just call you next week just to see how it is. But hey, if you see anything you like, feel free to reach out. I'll find that information for you.
But Nick, do you actually leave now in your, I know it's debatable before, I mean, do you actually leave sometimes I leave a voicemail. Do you have, if a lead comes in? No?
Yeah, I always leave voicemail. I mean, you know, Crystal, you know, she's not a huge fan. Like she's a fan, but like there's other things you can do. So what I've been doing now is we actually have like bombs. So we're sending videos. So
okay.
So now instead of me leaving a voicemail, I'm just sending them that.
Okay. Yeah, I've used bomb in the past. So okay, no problem.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks again.
Awesome.
I'll keep in touch with you. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the filters and stuff, I'll go back and see if there's anything you suggest on my end. But I'll look at the filter. I mean, I'll leave more note, but I'll schedule more filters and more timelines if you can help me with that too. But
yeah, absolutely. We can definitely have a session. We definitely have a session to go over that.
And you said the 13th, yeah. So, but yeah, then I'll worry about I'll practice on the scripts too. So try to get because
sorry, guys. I have my internet sucks. I don't know what the hell's going on. So
no problem.
It's all good.
Anyways, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll let you know. But Mario, come back on the 13th, and then we'll start calling your leads.
Perfect.
I'll be in a better internet connection zone.
Yeah.
Okay,
awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day.
Bye.
Bye.